Welcome back to the Chattable podcast, where we learn real American English in real life and have fun and be proud. Today we are thrilled to talk about 4 fascinating English expressions that are popping up everywhere during the current Winter Olympics.
Yeah, it is February 2026, and the Milan Cortina Games are they're in full swing right now.
They really are.
And honestly, even if you aren't really a sports fan, you just cannot escape it. It's on every screen, in every news feed. People are literally talking about it in line at the grocery store.
It's everywhere. And there's this really specific thing that happens every 4 years with this. We get this massive injection of high-performance vocabulary right into our daily lives.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the way the announcers describe the tension on the ice or the way the athletes talk in their press conferences, it just sort of bleeds into everyday conversation.
It creates a totally shared language for everyone, doesn't it?
Exactly. Suddenly, people who have never put on a pair of skis in their entire lives are using these intense sports metaphors in their Tuesday marketing meetings.
Right, or while they're just grabbing a coffee.
Yeah. It's like the whole world is suddenly speaking Olympics.
Well, I mean, it is inevitable. Sports metaphors are the bedrock of American English anyway. We're always moving the goalposts or trying to hit a home run.
So true.
But during the actual games, these phrases get put under a magnifying glass. And the 4 specific expressions we are unpacking today are particularly interesting because they aren't actually about the mechanics of the sport at all.
Really?
Yeah, they aren't about sticking the landing or anything physical. They are entirely psychological.
Psychological. How so?
Well, they are about attitude, they're about resilience, social grace, and how you maintain your composure under extreme pressure. So these are basically life skills wrapped up in sports terminology.
I love that. We aren't just talking about winning, we are talking about character.
Exactly.
So the 4 phrases on our list today are flattered, make a comeback, on someone's terms, and hardware.
It's a great list.
And we're going to see how athletes like the freestyle skier Eileen Gu and the figure skater Elisa Liu are using them right now.
And more importantly, how you listening right now can use them in your daily life to sound smarter and much more natural.
It's going to be a super fascinating discussion today. There's just a surprising amount of history and nuance in these words.
There really is. So where should we start?
Let's unpack this first one, flattered. Now, this word has been absolutely dominating the headlines this week, specifically revolving around Eileen Gu.
Ah, yes. Eileen Gu. I mean, for anyone living under a rock, she is a superstar skier, but she's also a bit of a lightning rod for controversy.
Right, because she was born in the U.S. but competes for China.
Exactly. It's a very complex situation involving nationality, identity, and just a whole lot of geopolitics.
It is, and just this week, it flared up all over again. There was a bit of a stir when U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance made a very public comment about her.
He did, yes.
He basically said that Eileen Gu should have represented the U.S. instead of China in these Winter Olympics. Now, I want to be super clear with you listening right now. We are absolutely not taking any sides here.
No, not at all.
We are impartially reporting on the content provided to us, not endorsing any political viewpoints. We just want to look at the language used in this source material.
Right, we're just analyzing the social dynamic and the vocabulary.
Exactly. Because regardless of where you stand on the politics, we can all agree that is a heavily loaded comment.
Oh, for sure. It's the kind of statement that is explicitly designed to provoke a reaction.
Yeah, it could have easily started a huge online war or an actual diplomatic incident.
Absolutely. It invites a very defensive reaction. It's almost an accusation disguised as an observation. Most people, if put in that incredibly tense position, would feel the immediate need to argue.
Or to explain themselves, or just get angry.
Right. But here is where it gets linguistically fascinating. Eileen Gu didn't get angry.
No, she didn't. She didn't write some long defensive essay explaining her life choices. She kept it incredibly cool.
She was so diplomatic and smart about it.
She basically acted like she was purely grateful for the compliment regarding her talent and left the politics completely out of it. She simply said she was flattered.
It was a masterclass in social grace. And if we look at the word itself, flattered, it helps explain exactly why the strategy works so incredibly well.
I'm really curious about this.
So the word actually has a very tactile physical history. It traces all the way back to the old French word flatter, which actually meant to stroke or caress.
Wait, really? Like physically petting an animal?
Originally, yes. It meant to stroke with the flat of the hand. So you might flatter a horse to calm it down or stroke a dog.
That is wild.
But over the centuries, that meaning evolved metaphorically. It went from physically stroking an animal to stroking someone's ego.
I absolutely love that evolution. It makes so much sense when you can visualize it like that.
It does, right?
So today, when we say we are flattered, it means we feel honored or pleased by a compliment or attention. It's like saying, oh, you're stroking my ego and it feels nice.
Precisely. But the real nuance here, and this is exactly what Eileen Gu mastered, is using it as a defensive shield. We call this the classy deflection.
The classy deflection. I really like the sound of that.
You see, when you say I am flattered, you are purposefully putting yourself in the passive position. You are the recipient of the praise.
Okay, I see where this is going.
It allows you to acknowledge the intent of the other person without necessarily agreeing with the content or the actual premise of what they said.
That is a crucial distinction. Because she didn't say you are right to want me on your team. She just said, I am flattered that you want me.
Exactly. It creates this buffer of distance. It allows you to reject an offer or diffuse a really tense situation without hurting anyone's feelings or starting a fight.
You acknowledge the compliment, the stroke, but you completely ignore the argument.
That's the magic of it.
And that is such a useful tool for the workplace. Because we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
You get put in a spot where someone offers you something or compliments you in a way that's actually kind of inconvenient or awkward.
Oh, constantly.
And you just need a graceful way out.
Right. Let's actually look at a real-world scenario to make this super concrete for you listening. Imagine you are at work. You're in a team meeting.
Okay, setting the scene.
A coworker comes up to you, maybe in front of your actual boss, and says, wow, you organized this project so well, you should really be the manager of this entire department.
Oof. That is deeply awkward. High stakes.
Very high stakes.
Especially if the real manager is standing right there listening to the whole exchange. You can't just say, yeah, I should be the manager.
Yeah.
Because you look terribly arrogant and insubordinate.
Exactly. And you certainly can't say, no, I'm terrible, I could never do that, because then you look weak and unconfident.
So you are basically trapped.
Unless you use the classy deflection, you utilize the word flattered, you could just smile, look them directly in the eye and say, I'm absolutely flattered you think so, but I really love the role I'm in right now.
Man, that is smooth.
Isn't it?
You completely accepted the compliment, the stroking of the ego, so the coworker feels heard and validated. But you firmly stayed in your lane. You saved face for literally everyone involved.
And that is exactly why flattered is such a power word. It turns a potential conflict into a moment of gratitude. It signifies that you are secure enough to take a compliment, but smart enough to not take the bait.
So flattered is our shield. It's our diplomatic armor.
Perfectly said.
From a moment of diplomatic grace, let's move to something a bit more gritty. Let's talk about the phrase, make a comeback.
Now, this is a phrase that feels absolutely tailor-made for the Olympics. Every 4 years, we just love a good redemption arc.
We really do.
And the story of the week, honestly, maybe the story of the entire games has to be Alyssa Liu.
Oh, absolutely. This story gave me actual chills. So, for those of you who haven't been following the figure skating closely, Alyssa Liu is a Chinese-American figure skater.
An incredible talent.
Right. And back in 2022, right after the Beijing Games, she completely shocked the world by retiring. And get this, she was only 16 years old.
16. I mean, just think about that for a second. That is usually when a career is just getting started.
Right.
In most professions, you haven't even started working yet. You're still just a kid in high school.
Right. But she was totally burned out. She felt like her entire life was consumed by skating. She had basically no normal childhood, and she just walked away. Cold turkey.
She wanted to just be a normal teenager.
Exactly. But then, fast forward to a couple of years ago, something inside her shifted. She decided to return. And this month, at the Milan Cortina Games, she didn't just show up to participate.
No, she certainly didn't.
She won 2 gold medals.
It is unbelievable. Just pure resilience. And linguistically, this is the perfect example to distinguish between just coming back and making a comeback.
There is a difference. They sound almost identical to the ear.
There is a massive difference, and it actually lies in the grammar and the dramatic weight of the phrase.
Okay, break that down for me.
So, coming back is a phrasal verb. It is purely physical and literal. You went to the grocery store and now you are coming back. It's just a return to a location. It's mundane.
Okay, so if I go to the bathroom and return to my desk, I am not making a comeback.
Unless your trip to the bathroom involved a major defeat, a dark night of the soul, and a triumphant return to glory, then probably not. You are simply coming back.
Fair enough.
Making a comeback where comeback is used as a noun implies high drama. It implies a narrative arc. It means you are returning to former glory or success or health after a very major decline or defeat.
I see. So the comeback requires the setback first. You have to have fallen down to make a comeback.
Exactly. It's the hero's journey condensed into a single idiom. And you have to notice the stress pattern, too. When it's the verb, we say come back, equal stress, or stress on the second word.
Come back. Got it.
But when it's the noun, the idiom, we say make a comeback. The stress hits really hard on the first syllable.
Make a comeback.
Yeah.
So Alyssa Liu didn't just return to the ice rink physically. She reclaimed her spot at the very top. That is the comeback.
Precisely. And the beauty of this phrase is that you don't need to be an Olympian to use it. We see businesses make a comeback, fashion trends make a comeback, even people bouncing back from a personal slump.
Oh, for sure. I was actually just thinking about this local bakery in my neighborhood. They closed down last year because they were struggling so much.
Oh, that's always sad.
It was. The windows were totally boarded up. The sign was fading. It looked like it was gone forever. But then literally last week, they reopened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they did a full renovation, got a brand new menu, and there was a line out the door all the way down the block.
See, that is the perfect example. Now, you could just say the bakery reopened. That is factually true.
But it's so boring. It doesn't capture the feeling of the moment.
It is entirely dry. But if you say to your friend, did you see the bakery? They really made a huge comeback.
It changes the feeling completely. It adds a whole narrative of resilience to the bakery story. It makes you want to root for them. It sounds like they fought for it against all the odds.
And that is exactly what we want in our storytelling. We want to convey that struggle and that ultimate success.
Makes total sense.
Now, this actually leads perfectly into our next phrase because it explains how Alyssa Liu made that comeback.
Oh, right. Because she didn't just do it the same old way. She did it on her terms.
Yes. This is the crucial detail of her entire story.
When Liu retired at 16, she was just overwhelmed by the intense pressure. She was constantly being told what to eat, how to train, when to sleep. Every second of her life was micromanaged by coaches and parents and associations.
Which just sounds absolutely exhausting. It is a total loss of agency. You are basically a passenger in your own life.
Exactly. So when she finally decided to return for the Milan Cortina games, the narrative was very, very specific. She wasn't just sliding back into that old controlling system.
She set the boundaries.
She decided she was going to be completely in charge of her training and her life. She did it on her terms.
I really love that phrasing, on her terms. It sounds so empowering. But where does that actually come from? Because it sounds almost, I don't know, legal.
It does, doesn't it? It sounds like something a corporate lawyer would say.
That is because it is. It comes directly from contract law.
No way.
Yes. Think about when you sign a document, you are agreeing to the terms and conditions. The terms are the rules of the agreement. They define exactly who does what, when they do it, and for how much.
So when you do something on your terms, you're basically saying, I'm the one writing the contract.
Exactly. You are the one holding the pen. You control the rules of engagement. You aren't just passively accepting someone else's boilerplate conditions. You are actively drafting your own.
That is such a powerful concept, especially these days. We talk so much about mental health, work-life balance, and the gig economy. It feels like everyone is trying to find a way to work on their own terms.
It really is the zeitgeist of our era right now. It is all about rejecting those strict societal expectations that say you have to do things a certain standard way.
Like the classic 9-to-5 grind or a very specific, rigid career path.
Exactly.
Let's role play this one, because I think a lot of you listening might relate to this very specific transition. Imagine a friend of yours just quit a really high-paying, high-stress corporate job.
Okay, a very common scenario these days. The Great Resignation, or maybe shifting to freelance consulting.
Right. Maybe they were a lawyer or a banker wearing a stiff suit every single day, and they decide to go freelance instead.
Got the picture.
And maybe you are genuinely worried for them.
Right.
You might ask, hey, are you okay? You gave up a massive salary in a corner office? Is this a huge mistake?
A natural question to ask a friend.
Right. And they might look at you and say, I might be making a little less money right now, but I get to work from home, set my own hours, and live life completely on my own terms.
And notice how that completely changes the whole vibe of the decision.
It really does.
It's not that they lost a good job. It's that they gained control. They are writing the contract for their own life now.
It turns a really scary change into an incredibly empowering one. It reframes the entire narrative from quitting to taking charge, On my own terms, I think I definitely need to use that one more often.
We all should. It's a declaration of independence. It reminds us that we always have a choice in how we engage with the world.
Okay, we have one last phrase to cover today, and this one is just purely fun.
It really is.
It's a little bit of slang that makes you sound instantly cooler, but also surprisingly humble at the same time. The phrase is hardware.
Hardware. And no, we are not talking about hammers, nails, and screwdrivers here.
Well, not exactly. This one comes from the incredible American speed skater Jordan Stoltz. Now, Jordan has been absolutely crushing it at these games, but the story that everyone on the internet loves is actually about his cat.
The cat. Yes. This was such a wonderfully human moment.
He had to travel all the way to Italy for the games, obviously, which meant he had to leave his beloved pet cat back home in the U.S.
Which is tough for any pet owner.
And when reporters asked him about it, he cracked a joke. He said he was really hoping to bring back some serious hardware to show off to the cat.
I love that so much. It's such a casual, relaxed way to talk about something so incredibly prestigious.
So let's break it down for the listener. Obviously, hardware usually means tools, machinery, basically stuff you buy at a DIY store.
Right. It refers to durable metal goods. You go to the local hardware store to buy a wrench or some bolts. But in the sports world, and increasingly just in casual slang, it has evolved to refer to the medal trophies, championship rings, and yes, Olympic medals.
It's the heavy metal that you win.
Exactly. But the overall vibe here is key. This is where American English gets really interesting. We have this strong tendency toward what linguists call litotes, or understatement.
Understatement.
Yes. If Jordan Stoltz had stood there at the press conference and said, "I hope to return with a prestigious gold medal representing my victory and honor," he sounds, well, a bit arrogant.
Right. It sounds like a robotic press release. Or like a villain in a comic book movie. I shall return with the gold.
Exactly. It's way too much. But saying, "I'm hoping to bring back some hardware," that is incredibly humble.
It minimizes the object.
It treats a gold medal literally the pinnacle of human athletic achievement, like it's just a regular piece of metal machinery. It's cool specifically because it's so understated.
That is the secret to cool English, isn't it? Understatement. Acting like you've been there before and it's no big deal.
Very often, yes. It signals deep confidence. You don't need to hype it up because you already know how good it is. Interestingly, in British English, they might refer to trophies as silverware.
Silverware, that sounds so much more dining room.
It really does. It sounds like forks and knives. We're hoping to win some silverware. It's very elegant. But American English strongly prefers hardware. It sounds tougher, grittier. It sounds like you built it yourself in a garage.
So how do we use this if we aren't winning Olympic medals? Because I am definitely not winning any speed skating races anytime soon.
I wouldn't rule it out.
Trust me, rule it out. Can I use this for my bowling trophy?
Absolutely. You can use it for any physical award or trophy. Let's say you are visiting a good friend. This friend plays in an amateur weekend soccer league, nothing fancy, just a group of friends playing for fun.
Okay.
But let's say they finally won the championship tournament after years of trying.
Okay, so I walk into their house.
You walk in and you immediately see that giant gold plastic cup sitting right there on their dining table. You know the exact kind. It's super shiny, but probably weighs absolutely nothing.
Oh, I know the one.
You wouldn't say, "I perceive you have acquired a trophy." That's totally robotic. You'd casually point to it and say, "Wow, look at all that new hardware. Congratulations."
It just sounds so much more natural. It acknowledges the win without making it weirdly formal or stuffy. Look at that hardware. I like it. It feels like giving a high five in words.
That's a great way to put it. It's a fantastic way to celebrate success without taking it too seriously. It keeps the mood very light.
So what does this all mean for us? We have covered a lot of ground today, and these 4 phrases really seem to tell a cohesive story about modern life, don't they?
They really do. If you look at the progression of what we discussed, we started with flattered.
The art of the classy deflection. Using gratitude to maintain your personal boundaries and diffuse tension, just like Eileen Gu did when facing heavy political pressure. It's about being incredibly smart in the face of conflict.
Then we looked at making a comeback.
Which is so much more than just returning. It's the dramatic narrative of returning to glory after a real struggle, illustrated beautifully by Alyssa Liu's Return to the Ice. It's all about resilience.
And we directly connected that to doing things on someone's terms.
The powerful idea of writing your own contract for life, taking control of the rules, the boundaries, and the terms and conditions of your own personal happiness. It's about true agency and freedom.
And finally, we wrapped up with hardware.
The cool casual way to refer to the trophies and awards that actually mark those victories. The understatement of success. It's about staying grounded and humble even when you win big.
You know, when we lay them all out like that, it really does paint a picture of a very specific type of person, someone who is diplomatic, resilient, highly independent, and humble.
That is a great observation. And that is really the underlying power of these idioms. They aren't just about sports at all. They are essential tools for describing character.
Exactly.
Whether you are navigating a tricky, awkward conversation at the office using Flattered, or recovering from a major personal setback and planning your comeback, these phrases give you a framework to better understand your own story.
Absolutely. Language is basically the software our brains run on. If you have better, more precise words for your experiences, you can process them so much better.
And that brings us to the end of our discussion today, but we want to leave you with a little something to think about.
We often think of vocabulary as just words, just simple labels we put on things. But isn't it interesting how a phrase like "on your terms" can actually change the way you view your own agency in a situation?
It really reframes a decision from something you had to do to something you actively chose to do.
It does.
That is a powerful thought. If you change the language you use to describe your daily struggles, would it change how you handle them? If you stopped calling it a failure and started calling it the setup for a comeback, would you act differently? Something to chew on while you were watching the games this week.
Indeed. Words create worlds.
Thank you so much for listening to Chattable. We'll be back soon with more real English for real life.
Goodbye, everyone.